Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. And I have been working with this wonderful group of people. It's been an honor. They're an incredible group. And we've been working on this play. And it all takes place more than 100 years ago when it was written. And we'll begin in a minute. I want to say that after the first act, there'll be one 10-minute intermission. And then the second and third acts aren't so long, and we'll just go right on. You'll see us moving things, but we'll just, we won't have an intermission. And if you can't hear or anything, come closer up, use some of these chairs if you want. The bathrooms in Rowan House, there's a bathroom downstairs, and there's a bathroom upstairs near the boot room. This means nothing to me. In the longhouse, to the left, along the hallway, door on the right. Come see me if you have questions. Now, very importantly, please turn your cell phones off and enjoy this, living through this story of a little town in New Hampshire, which is north of here, and what happens to the people in this story.
This play is called Our Town. It was written by Thornton. The name of our town is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire. The first act of our play shows a day in our town. The day is May 7, 1901. The time is just before dawn. The sky is beginning to show some streaks of light over in the east there, behind our mountain. The morning star always gets wonderful bright the minute before it has to go, doesn't it? Well, I better show you how our town lies. Up here is Main Street. Way back there is the railway station. Here's the grocery store, and here's Mr. Morgan's drugstore. Most everybody in town manages to get to those two stores at least once a day. Public school is over yonder. High school is still farther over. Cut off 9 mornings, noon times, 3 o'clock afternoons. The whole town can hear the yelling and screaming from those schoolyards. Here's our doctor's house, Dr. Gibbs, and that's his back door. This is Mrs. Gibbs' garden. Corn, peas, beans, hollyhocks, heliotropes, and a lot of bed dogs too. In those days, our newspaper come out twice a week, and this is Editor Webb's house. This is Mrs. Webb's garden, just like Mrs. Gibbs, only it's got a lot of sunflowers too. Right here is a big butternut tree. Nice town, you know what I mean? Well, nobody very remarkable ever come out of it so far as we know. Well, as I said, it's about dawn. The only lights on in town are in a cottage over by the tracks where a mother just had twins. And in the Joe Crower house where Joe Jr. is getting up to deliver the paper. And the depot where Shawty Hawkins is getting ready to flag the 545 for Boston. Naturally, out in the country, there's been lights on for some time, what with milkings and so on. But town people sleep late. So, another day has begun. There comes Dr. Gibbs coming down Main Street now. And here's his wife coming downstairs to get breakfast. There's Mrs. Webb coming downstairs to get breakfast too. And here comes Joe Crow Jr. coming down to deliver the paper.
Morning, Dr. Gibbs.
Morning, Joe.
Somebody been sick, Doc?
No, just some twins born over Polish Town.
Do you want a paper now?
Yeah, I'll take it. Anything going on in the town since last Wednesday?
Yes, sir. My scholarship's getting married.
Oh, so what do you boys feel about that?
Well, of course, it's none of my business. But I think if a person starts to be a teacher, ought to stay one.
Mm-hmm. So how is your knee, Joe?
Fine, Doc. I never think about it at all. Only like you said, it always tells me when it's going to rain.
So what is telling you today? Is it gonna rain?
No, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Never make a mistake?
No, sir.
What's the message with you today?
Here comes Howie Newsom delivering the milk.
Morning, Doc.
Morning, Howie.
Somebody sick?
Just pair of twins.
Karina, this town is getting bigger every year.
Going to rain?
No, 5 days. That will burn through. Come on, Bessie.
Hello, Bessie. How old is she, Howie?
Going on 17. Good morning, Howie. Good morning, Mrs. Gibbs. Doc just come down the street.
Is he? Seems like you're late today.
Yes, something went wrong with the separator. Don't know what it was. Doc.
Children, time to get up.
Come on, Bessie.
George, Rebecca. Everything all right, Frank?
I declare, Jesus Peters.
Bacon will be ready in a minute. Drink your coffee. You can catch a couple of hours sleep today, can't you?
Mrs. Swan was coming at 11. Guess I know what is about too. Past coming ain't what it's ought to be.
All told, you won't get more than 3 hours sleep. Frank Gibbs, I don't know what's going to become of you. I do wish you would go in, get some rest. I think it would do you good.
Emily, it's time to get up. Wally's 7 o'clock.
I declare, you got to speak to George. Seems like something's come over him lately. He's no help to me at all. I can't even get him to cut me some wood.
Is he saucy to you?
No, he just whines.
Oh.
All he thinks about is that baseball. George, Rebecca, you'll be late for school.
George, look sharp.
Yes, Pa.
George.
Don't you hear your mother calling you? I guess I'll go upstairs get her for you.
Wally, Emily, you'll be late for school. Wally, you wash yourself well or I'll come there and do it myself. Mama, what should I wear?
Don't make a noise. Your father's been out all night and needs his sleep. I washed and ironed the blue gingham for you special.
Mama, I hate that dress.
Oh, hush up with you.
Every day I go to school dressed like a sick turkey.
Now, Rebecca, you always look very nice.
Mama, George is throwing soap at me.
I'll come and slap the both of you. That's what I'll do.
Now, children, I won't have it. Breakfast is as good as any other meal. And I won't let you gobbling like wolves. It will stunt your growth. That's a fact. Wally, put that book away.
Oh, Ma. But 10 o'clock got to know all about Canada.
Well, you know the rules as well as I do. No books at the table. For me, I'd rather have my child healthy than bright.
I'm both, Mama. You know it. And I'm the brightest girl in school. I have a wonderful memory.
Eat your breakfast, Emily.
I'm bright too. I'm looking at my stamp collection.
I'll speak to your father about it when he's rested. Seems to me 25 cents is enough for a boy your age. I declare, I don't know how you spend it all.
Oh, Ma, I got a lot of things to buy.
Strawberry phosphates, that's what you spend it on.
I don't see how Rebecca comes to have so much money. She has more than $1.
I have been saving up great deal.
Well, dear, I think it's a good thing to spend some every now and again.
Mama, do you know what I love most in the world? Do you? Money.
Eat your breakfast.
Oh, Mama, there's the first bell.
I gotta hurry.
I don't want any more.
I gotta hurry.
Walk fast, but you don't have to run. Wally, pull up your pants at the knee.
You look
Stand up
real
straight,
nice,
Emily.
Rebecca. Pick up your feet. Here, chick, 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 chick. Here, chick, 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 chick. Go away. Go away. Here, chick, chick, chick. No, don't be afraid. Nobody's gonna hurt you. Here, chick, chick. Good morning, Myrtle. How is your cold?
Well, I still get that tickling feeling in my throat. I told Charles I didn't know if I can still go to the choir practice. It doesn't help at all.
Have you tried singing over your voice?
Yes, but somehow I can't do that. And stay on the key while I'm resting myself. I thought I'd string off these beans.
Here, let me help you. Beans have been good this year.
Well, I've decided to put up 40 quarts if it kills me, and the children really hate them. But I noticed they're able to get him down all winter.
Now, Myrtle, I've got to tell you something, because if I don't tell somebody, I'm going to burst.
Why, Julia Gibbs?
Here, give me some more of those beans. Myrtle, did one of those second-hand furniture people from Boston come to see you last Friday?
No?
Well, he called on me. First, I thought he was a patient trying to see Dr. Gibbs, and he wormed his way into my parlor. And Myrtle Webb, he offered me $350 for grandmother's highboy as I sit here.
$350. Why, Julia Gibbs?
He did that old thing.
Well, you're going to take it, aren't you? It's $350.
Well, if I could get the doctor to take the money and go away someplace with me on a real trip, I'll take it like that. You know, Myrtle, it's been the dream of my life to go and see Paris.
Well, it's $350. Tell the doctor. And how does he feel about it?
Well, I did beat about the bush a little, and I said if I ever got the legacy, that's how I put it, I'd make him take me somewhere nice.
So, what did he say?
Oh, you know how he is. I haven't heard a serious word out of his mouth ever since I've known him. He said it would make him discontented to be with Grover's Corners to go traipsing about Europe.
Well, if that second-hand man's really serious about buying it, Julia, it's $350, Julia. You sell it. And then you'll get to see Paris. It's Paris, France, all right? Just keep dropping hints from time to time. Well, you know, that's how I got to see the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, I'm sorry I mentioned it. Only it seems to me once in your life you ought to go see a place where they don't speak English and they don't even want to.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to skip a few hours. But first, we want a little more information about the town. Kind of a scientific account, you might say. So, I've asked Professor Willard of our state university to come in and sketch a few details of our past history here. Oh, is Professor Willard here? Folks, may I introduce to you Professor Willard of our state university. A few brief notes, Prof. Unfortunately, our time is limited.
Mafala. Grover's Corners. Let me see. Grover's Corners lies on the old Appalachian Range. I may say it's some of the world's oldest lands. We're very proud of that. Some highly interesting fossils have been found 2 miles out of town in Silas Bacon's cow pasture. I may say unique fossils. Shall I read some of Professor Gruber's notes?
Afraid we won't have time for that, Professor. And the population, Professor?
Within the town limits, 2,640.
Just a moment.
Oh, right indeed. The population at the moment is 2,642.
Thank you very much, Professor. We are all very thankful, I'm sure.
Oh, not indeed, sir. Not at all.
This way, Prof, and thank you again. Now, the political and social reports. Editor Webb. Oh, Mr. Webb?
He'll be here in a minute. He just cut his finger while eating apples.
Thank you, Mrs. Webb.
Charles, everybody's waiting.
Mr. Webb is publisher and editor of our Grover's Corner Sentinel. That's our local paper, you know.
All male vote at the age of 21. Women vote inject. We are low middle class, speaking our personal taste. We have 86% of Senate Republicans, 6% Democrat, 4% Socialist, rest indifferent.
Have you any comments, Mr. Webb?
Very ordinary town, if you ask me. Later back behavior most. Probably a lot dollar. But our young people here seem to like it too well enough. Person from away to college.
Now, is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask Editor Webb anything about the town?
Is Grandma drinking in the Grover's Corner?
Well, Mom, I won't know that you come much. Saturday night from the farmhand meet down in the earth, the table of holy stuff. We have got one or two town dogs, but here always having come to town. No. I see liquor on the regular things in the home here, except the medicine check. Right, good old snack bag, you know, always was.
Is there no one in town aware?
Excuse me, come forward where we can all hear you. What were you saying again?
Is there no one in town aware of social injustice and industrial inequality?
Oh, yes. Everybody is something terrible. Seems like they spend most of their time to talking about who is rich and who is poor.
Then why don't they do something about it?
Well, I do know. I guess we are all hanging like everybody else from the way, and since this boat can reach to the top and the lady quilting some can sinking to the bottom, but it easy to find. Are there any questions?
Oh, Mr. Webb, is there any culture or love of beauty in Grover's Corner?
No, Mom, there isn't much culture, but maybe it is place to tell you that we have got a lot of pleasure of a canned morning. We like to the sun come up over the mountain in the morning, and we all advise a good deal about the birds. We pay a lot of attention about them, and we watch change of season. Yes, everybody know about them.
So I thought. Thank you, Mr. Webb.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Now, we're going to go back to the town. It's early afternoon. All 2,642 have had their dinners, and all the dishes have been washed. There's an early afternoon calm in our town. A buzzing and humming from the school buildings. Only a few buggies on Main Street. The horses dozing at the hitching post. That Gibbs is in his office making people say, ah. Mr. Webbs is cutting his lawn over there. No, sir, it's later than I thought. There are the children coming home from school already.
I can't, Louis. I've got to go home and help my mother. I promised.
Emily, look simply. Who do you think you're today?
Papa, you're terrible. 1 minute you tell me to stand up straight, and the next minute you call me names. I just don't listen to you.
Oh, sorry. I never got a great case except with lady before.
Hello, Emily.
Hello.
You made a very fine speech in class today.
Well, I was really ready to make a speech about the Monroe Doctrine, but at the last minute, Miss Corcoran made me talk about the Louisiana Purchase instead. I worked an awful lot of time in both of them.
Gee, it's funny, Emily, you know, from my window up there, I can just see your head nights out when you're sitting over in your room doing your homework.
Why? Can you?
Yeah, you certainly do stick to it. I don't really see how you can sit still for that long. I guess you like school.
Well, I always feel it's something you have to go through.
Yeah.
I don't mind it really. It passes time.
Yeah. Well, Emily, what do you think? Maybe we could work out some telegraph system from your window to mine, and every once in a while you could give me a hint or two about those algebra problems I've been having. I don't mean the answers. Of course not, but
Really?
maybe just some little hints.
Oh, I think hints are allowed. So, if you get stuck, George, you whistle to me and I'll give you some hints.
Emily, you're just naturally bright, I guess.
I figure it's just the way a person's born.
But you see, I want to be a farmer. And my Uncle Luke says that I can just come over and work on his farm. And if I'm any good, I can just, gradually have it.
You mean the house and everything?
Yeah. Well, I better get going out to the baseball field. Thanks a lot for the talk, Emily, and good afternoon, Mother Webb.
Good afternoon, George.
So long, Emily.
So long, George.
Emily, come and help me string these beans for the winter. George Gibbs let himself have a real conversation, didn't he? How old would George be now?
I don't know.
Let's see, he must be 16?
Mama, I made a speech in class today, and I was very good.
Well, you must recite it to your father at supper. What was it about?
The Louisiana Purchase. It was like a silk off a spool. I'm going to make speeches all my life. Mama, are they big enough?
Try and get them a little bigger.
Mama, will you answer me a question? Serious.
Seriously, dear? Not serious.
Seriously, will you?
Of course I will.
Mama, am I good looking?
Yes, of course you are. All my children have got good features. I'd be ashamed if they had not.
Mama, that's not what I mean. I mean, am I pretty?
I've already told you. Now, that's enough of that. You have a nice, young, pretty face. I never heard of such foolishness.
Oh, Mama, you never tell us about anything. I mean, the truth about anything.
Well, I am telling you the truth.
So, Mama, were you pretty?
Yes, I was, if I do say it. I was the prettiest girl in town next to Mommy Cartwright.
But, Mama, you've got to say something about me. Am I pretty enough? Am I interested to get people interested in me?
Oh, Emily, you make me tired. Now stop it. You're pretty enough for all normal purposes. Come along now and bring that bowl with you.
Oh, Mama, you're no help at all.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. We will have to interrupt again here. There are some more things we want to explore about this town. You know, I think this is a good time to tell you that the Cartwright interest have just begun building a new bank in Grover's Corners. And they've asked a friend of mine what they should put in the cornerstone for people to dig up 1,000 years from now. Of course, they put in a copy of the New York Times and a copy of Mr. Webb's Sentinel. We are putting in a Bible and a Constitution of the United States of America. And guess what? A copy of William Shakespeare's play. What do you think? You know, Babylon once had 2 million people in it. And all we know about them is the names of the people, the kings, and the copies of weak contracts and contracts for the sale of slaves. Yet, every night all those families sat down to supper, and the father came home from dinner, and the smoke went up the chimney, same as here. And even in Greece and Rome, all we know about the real life of the people is what we can piece together out of the joking poems and comedies they wrote for the theater back then. So, I'm going to have a copy of this play put in the cornerstone, and the people 1,000 years from now would know a few simple facts about us. See what I mean? So, people 1,000 years from now, this is the way we were in the provinces of New York at the beginning of the 20th century. This is the way we were. In our growing up, in our marrying, in our living, and in our dying.
I will bow and be simple. I will bow and be free. I will bow and be humble, like a little tree. I will bow and be simple. I will bow and be free. I will bow and be humble, bow like the willow tree. I will bow and be simple. I will bow and be free. I will bow and be humble, bow like a willow tree. I will bow and be simple. I will bow and be free. I will bow and be humble, like a willow tree.
Well, good deal of time has gone by. It's evening. You can hear choir practice going on. The children are at home doing their schoolwork. The day is running down like a tired clock.
I will bow and be simple. I will bow and be free. I will bow and be humble, bow like the willow tree.
Now, look here, everybody. Music coming to the world to give our pleasure. Softer, soft. Get it out of your head. That music only good when it's loud. Now, again, tenor.
I will bow and be simple. I will bow and be free. I will bow and be humble, bow like the willow tree.
Emily.
Hello. I can't work at all. The moonlight's so terrible.
Emily, did you get the third problem?
Which?
The third.
Why, yes, George. That's the easiest of them all.
I just don't see it, Emily. Could you give me a hint?
I'll tell you one thing. The answer is in yards.
In yards? How do you mean?
In square yards.
Oh, in square yards.
Yes, George. Don't you see?
Yeah,
In square yards of wallpaper.
wallpaper. Oh, I see. Thanks a lot, Emily.
You're welcome. My, isn't the moonlight terrible and choir practice going on? I think if you hold your breath for a second, you can hear all the train all the way to Contoocook. Hear it?
What do you know?
Well, I guess I better go back to try and work.
Good night, Emily, and thanks a lot.
Good night, George.
Before I forget it, how many of you will be able to come in Tuesday afternoon and sing at Fresh Hersey wedding? Show your hand. That will be fine. That's right. Nice. Well, we do the same music as we did last month. Make it talk. Ready?
I will bow and be simple. I will bow and be free. I will bow and be humble, bow like the willow tree.
Oh, George, can you calm down a minute?
Yes, Pearl.
Make yourself comfortable, George. I only keep you a minute. George, how old are you?
I'm 16, almost 17, Pa.
And what are you gonna do when at school it's over?
Well, you know, I want to be a farmer on Uncle Luke's farm.
You'll be willing, will you? Getting up early and milk and feed the animals, hoe and hay all day?
Sure I will. Pa, what are you trying to say?
Well, George, when I was in my office today, I heard a weird sound. Can you guess what it was?
I have no clue.
It was your mother, George. Yes, your mother. You see your mother, she gets up early cooking meals all day long, washing and ironing. And still she has to go out in the backyard and chop wood. I suppose she's getting tired of asking you. And she found that it's best for her to do it on her own. And you eat her meals and put on the nice clothes she keeps for you. You run off and play baseball, like she's some hired girl we keep in the house, but that we don't like very much. Well, I knew all I had to do was to call your attention, son. So here's the handkerchief. But, George, I decided to raise your spending money, 25 cents a week. Not, of course, for chopping wood for your mom. That's the gift, you must give it to her. But because you're getting old, and I suppose you might find something to do about it.
Thanks a lot, Pa.
Let's see. Tomorrow it's your payday. You can count on it. And probably Rebecca will feel to have some more too. Wonder what could happen to your mother. Choir practice never been late like this before.
But it's only 8:30, Pa.
I don't know why she's that old choir. She has no more voice than an old crow traipsing around the street at this hour of the night. Just about time you retired, don't you think?
Yes, Pa.
Good night, Martha. Well, I'll tell Mr. Webb, and I know he'll like to put it on.
My, it's late.
Good night, Irma.
Real nice choir practice, wasn't it? Myrtle Webb, look at that moon. Potato weather for sure.
Naturally, I didn't want to say a word in front of those others.
What?
Really? It's the worst scandal ever in this town.
What?
Simon Stimson.
Now, Luella.
But as the organist of a church, drink and drunk year by year, you know he was drunk tonight.
Now, Luella, we all know about Simon Stimson, and we all know about the troubles he's been through. And Dr. Ferguson knows it too. And if Dr. Ferguson chooses to let him keep his job, the best the rest of us can do is just not notice it.
Not to notice it? But it's getting worse. No, it isn't, Luella. I've been in these choirs twice as long you've been, and it doesn't happen anywhere near so often. I hate to go to bed in a night like this. I better hurry. Those children will stay late up night. Good night, Luella. Good night, Julia.
Can you get home safe, Luella?
It is bright as a day. I can see Mr. Soames scrawling at the window now. You would think we have been to a dance the way the men for carry on.
Well, we had a real good time.
You are late enough.
Oh, why, Frank? It ain't later than usual.
And you're stopping at the corner to gossip with a lot of hands.
Now, Frank, don't be grouchy. Come out and smell the heliotrope in the moonlight. Isn't that wonderful? What did you all do all the time I was away?
Oh, I read as usual. And what were you girls gossiping about tonight?
Well, believe me, Frank, there's something to gossip about.
Simon Simpson faggot, was he?
Worst I've ever seen him. How will that end, Frank? Dr. Ferguson can't forgive him forever.
I guess I know more about Simon Simpson affair than anybody in this town. Some people are not made for small town. I don't know how that will end, but there's nothing we can do about it. Just leave it. Come on, get in.
No, not yet, Frank. Frank, I'm worried about you.
What are you worried about?
I think it's my duty to make plans for you to get a real rest and change. And if I get that legacy, I'm going to insist upon it.
No, Julia, there's no sense of going that again.
Frank, you're just unreasonable.
Come on, Julia, it's getting late. First thing you go, you'll catch cold. I gave George a piece of mind tonight. I reckon you have your wood chopped for a while anyway. No, let's get straight upstairs.
Hey, get out, Rebecca. There's only place for one of us at this window. You always ruin everything.
Well, let me just look a minute.
Use your own window.
Oh, I did, but there's no moon there. Oh, George, do you know what I think, do you? I think the moon is getting near and near, and there will be a big explosion.
Rebecca, seriously, you don't know anything. If the moon were getting nearer and nearer, the guys who sit up all night with their telescopes would know about it first, and it'd be all over the newspapers and stuff.
Oh, George, is the moon shining on Canada, the South America, or the half of the world?
Well, probably is.
9:30. Most of the lights are out. No, there's Constable Waring trying to fill doors on Main Street. And here comes Editor Webb after putting his newspaper to bed.
Good evening, Bill.
Evening, Miss Webb.
Hard or moon?
Yep,
How cold tonight?
Simon Stevenson is rolling around a little. Just saw his wife moving out to hamper him. So I looked the other way. There he is now.
Good evening, Simon. Thanks Sam to having stayed down for night party, Bill. Good evening. Yes, most of time. Stay down for the night, Simon. I guess we better do the same. Can I walk along with you? Good night.
I don't know how that's going to end, Miss Webb.
Well, he said a part of trouble, one thing or other. Oh, Bill, if you see my boy smoking cigarettes, just give her a word. Will you? He think a lot of you, Bill.
I don't think he smoked no cigarette, Miss Webb. Leastways, no more than 2 or 3 a year.
Oh, I hope not. Well, good night, Bill.
Good night, Miss Webb.
Who's that here? Is that your mother?
No, it's me, Papa.
Why aren't you in bed?
I don't know. I just can't sleep yet, Papa. The moonlight's so wonderful. And the smell of Mrs. Gibbs' heliotrope. Can you smell it?
Yeah. Have any trouble on your mind? Have you? Emily?
Troubles, Papa? No?
Well, enjoy yourself. But don't let your mother catch you. Good night, Emily.
Good night, Papa.
I never told you about the letter that Jane Crawford got from her minister when she was sick. He wrote her a letter, and on the envelope, it was like this. Jane Crawford, the Crawford Farm, the Grover's Corners, Sutton County, New Hampshire, the United States of America.
What's so funny about that?
But it's not finished. The United States of America, the United States of America, Western Hemisphere, the Earth, the universe, the solar system, and the mind of God. And it's what it said on the envelope.
Huh. What do you know?
And the postman just brought it the same.
What do you know?
And that's the end of the first act, friends.
This is our intermission.
3 years have gone by. Yes, The sun has come up over 1,000 times. Summers and winters have cracked the mountains a little bit more, and the rains have brought down some of the dirt. Some babies that were even born before have begun talking regular sentences already. And a number of young people who thought they were right young and spry have noticed that they can't bound a flight of stairs like they used to without their hearts fluttering a little. All that can happen in 1,000 days. Nature's been pushing and contriving in other ways too. A number of young people fell in love and got married. Almost everybody in the world gets married. You know, in our town, there are hardly any exceptions. The first act was called the daily life. This act is called love and marriage. There's another act coming after this. I reckon you can guess what that's about. So, it's 3 years later. It's 1904. It's July 7th. Just after high school commencement. That's the time most of our young people jump up and get married. It's early morning, only this time it's been raining. It's been pouring and thundering. There, you can hear the 5:45 for Boston. And there's Mrs. Gibbs and Mrs. Webb come down to make breakfast, just as though it were an ordinary day. I don't have to point out to the women in my audience that those ladies they see before them, those ladies, they've cooked 3 meals a day. One of them for 20 years, the other for 40 years. And no summer vacation. They brought up 2 children apiece, washed, cleaned the house, and never break down. It's like one of those Middle West poets said, you've got to love life to have life. And you've got to have life to love life. It's what they call a vicious circle.
Get it up, Bessie.
And here comes Howie Newsom again, delivering the milk. And there comes Cy Crowell, delivering the papers like his brother before him.
Morning, Howie.
Morning, Si. Anything in the paper I ought to know?
Nothing much, except you're losing about the best basketball future Grover's Corner ever had, George Gibbs.
Right on he is.
He could hit and run bases too.
Yep, mighty fine ball player.
I don't see how he could give up about a thing like just like that. Just to get married. Would you, Howie?
Can't tell, Si. You up early, Bill?
Seeing if there's anything I can do to prevent a flood. River's been rising all night.
Cycle work up here about George Griff retiring from baseball.
Yes, sir. That's the way it goes. Howie, how does the weather look to you?
Oh, it ain't bad. Think maybe it will clear up for good.
Good morning, Howie. Do you think it's going to rain again?
Morning, Mrs. Griff. It rains so heavy. I think it will clear up.
Certainly hope it will.
How much do you want today?
I'm going to have a house full of relations, Howie. It looks to me like I'll need 3 of the cream and 2 of the milk.
My wife said to tell you. We both hope they will be very happy. Mrs. Griff, they know they will.
Thanks a lot, Howie. Tell your wife I hope she gets there to the wedding.
Yes, she will be there. She will be there if she can. Good morning, Mrs. Webb.
Good morning, Howie. Oh, I told you last time that I only need 4 quarts, but I hope you can spare me another.
Yes, ma'am. And the two of Kim.
Will it start raining again, Howie?
Well, just say to Mrs. Griff, ask how is my letting up.
Well, thank you, and we're counting on you to see you in the wedding.
Yes, Mrs. Webb, we hope to get there. Couldn't miss that. Come on, Bessie.
Well, Ma, the day has come. You're losing one of your cheeks.
Frank Gibbs, don't say another word. I feel like crying every minute. Sit down, drink your coffee.
The groom is up shaving himself, only there's not much to shave. Whistling and singing like he's glad to leave us. Every now and then he says, I do, to the mirror, but it doesn't convince me.
I declare, Finn, I don't know how he'll get along. I've arranged his clothes and seen to it he put warm things on. Frank, they're too young. Emily won't think of such things. He'll catch his cold within a week.
I was remembering my wedding morning, Julia.
Oh, don't start that, Frank Gibbs.
I was the scaredest young fella in the state of New Hampshire. I thought I would make a mistake for sure. And when I saw you coming down in that aisle, I thought you were the prettiest girl I'd ever been seen. But the only trouble was that I had never seen you before. There I was in a congregational church marrying a total stranger.
And how do you think I felt? Frank, weddings are perfectly awful things. Farces, that's what they are. Here, I made something for you.
Why, Julia Hess? French toast?
It ain't hard to make and I had to do something.
How did you sleep last night, Julia?
Well, I heard a lot of the hours struck off.
Yes, I get a shock every time. I think of George setting up to be a family man. That great gangly thing. I tell you, Julia, there's nothing so terrifying in the world as a son. The relation of father and son is the darndest awkwardest.
Well, mother and daughter's no picnic, let me tell you.
Oh, they all have a lot of troubles, I suppose. But that's none of our business. Everybody has right to their own troubles.
Yes, people are meant to go through life two by two. It ain't natural to be lonesome.
Julia, do you know one of the things I was scared of when I was marrying you?
Oh, go along with you.
I was afraid we would not have anything to talk about. I was afraid we would run out and eat our meals in silence. That's the fact. Well, you and I have been conversing for 20 years now without any noticeable barren spells.
Well, good weather, bad weather, there's not a lot of choices. But I always have something to say. Did you hear Rebecca stirring up upstairs?
No. Only day of the year Rebecca has been managing everybody's business up there. She's hiding in her room. I got the impression she was crying.
Lord's sakes, this has got to stop. Rebecca! Rebecca! Come and get your breakfast.
Good morning, everybody. Only 5 more hours to live.
George Gibbs, where are you going?
Ma, I'm just stepping across the lawn to see my girl.
George Gibbs, you put on your overshoes. It's raining torrents. You don't get out of this house until you're prepared for it.
Ma, it's just a step.
What if Mrs. Webb is not expecting strangers at 7 in the morning? Here, get a cup of coffee first.
I'll be back in a minute. Good morning, Mother Webb.
Goodness, you frightened me. Now, George, you can come out of the wet in a minute, but I cannot let you in.
Why not?
Well, George, you know well as I do. The broom cannot see her bride until the church.
Ah, come on. That's just a superstition. Good morning, Mr. Webb.
Good morning, George.
Mr. Webb, you don't believe in that superstition too, do you?
There's a lot of conversation out in this mood, George.
Well, millions have followed it. And you don't want to be the one to be the first in the custom, George.
Well, how's Emily?
Well, she hasn't wake up yet. I haven't heard the sound out of her.
She's asleep?
Well, no wonder. We were up till all hours sewing and packing. Now, I'll tell you what I'll do. You sit down and here's a cup of coffee and I will check on her. And there's also bacon. But don't get too long about it, okay?
Well, George, how are you?
Oh, fine. I'm actually fine. Mr. Webb, what sense could there be in a superstition like that?
Well, you see, on her wedding morning, a girl had up to be full of clothes and one things another. Do you think they'll cover it?
I had never thought of that.
A girl apt to be most nervous on her wedding day.
Yeah, I wish a fella could get married with all of that marching up and down.
Every man that his life has tried to worry about it, George, but it didn't have any use. It is a woman's fault who have built a wedding, my boy.
But you believe in it, don't you, Mr. Webb?
Oh yes, don't you misunderstand me, my boy? Marriage is a wonderful thing, wonderful things. And don't you forget that, George?
No, sir. Mr. Webb, how old were you when you got married?
Well, you see, I've been to the college and take a little time to get settled, but Mrs. White, it wasn't much older than Emily is. Oh, age wasn't much to do with it. George, don't compare with, other things?
What were you gonna say, Mr. Webb?
Oh, I don't know. Was I going to say something? George, I was thinking the other night for some advice from my father gave me when I got married. Child, he said, child, start out early still with books. He said, best thing to do to give me an order, even if make your size. Just well see she to learn to be able. And he said, if anything about your wife worrying to resist you, a conversation or anything, just get up here and leave the house. Just make this clear to her, he said. And oh, yes, he said never let your wife know how much money you have. Never.
Well, Mr. Webb, I don't think I could.
So I took them off straight to my father and wife, and I've been having happy for things. And let it to be a lesson to you, George, never to ask advice on a personal matter. George, are you going to raise chicken on your farm?
What?
Are you going to raise chicken on your farm? A book came into my office another day, George, of the flourishing system of raising chicken. I want you to read it.
Charles, are you talking about the chicken again? I thought you were gonna talk about something worthwhile.
Oh, Myrtle, if you want to give this boy some advice, I will go upstairs and leave you alone with him.
Well, George, Emily's got to come for her breakfast. She sends you her love, but she doesn't want to see you for now. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Myrtle, I guess you do know about other superstitions.
What do you mean, Charles?
Since the gifted men, no bridegroom should to see his father-in-law on the day of the wedding. Oh, nearly. No, remember that.
Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Webb. Now, I have to interrupt again here. You see, we want to know about how all this began. This plan to spend a lifetime together, this wedding. I'm awfully interested in how big things like this begin. You know how it is, you 21 or you 22, and you 70, just like that. You've been a lawyer for 50 years, and that white-haired lady at your side has eaten over 50,000 meals with you. How do such things begin? George and Emily are going to show you now the conversation they had when they first knew that, as the saying goes, they were meant for one another. But before they do it, I want you to try and remember what it was like to have been very young. And particularly the days when you were first in love. When you're like a person sleepwalking, and you didn't even quite see the street you were in, and didn't even quite hear everything that was said to you. You were just a little bit crazy. Will you remember that, please? Now, they'll be coming out of high school at 3 o'clock, George has just been elected president of the junior class. And as it's June, that means he'll be president of the senior class all next year. And Emily's been elected secretary and treasurer. I don't have to tell you how important that is. Yeah, they coming down Main Street now.
I can't, Louis. I've got to go home. Goodbye. Oh, Ernestine, can you come over tonight and do Latin? Tell your mother you have to.
Can I carry your books home for you, Emily?
Why? Thank you. It's not so far.
I'm awfully glad. I'm awfully glad you were elected too, Emily.
Thank you.
Emily, why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
But you have been treating me so funny lately.
Well, since you asked me, I might as well say it right out, George.
What is it?
I don't like this change that's come over you in the last year, and I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but I've got to tell the truth and shame the devil.
Change? What do you mean?
Well, up to a year ago, I used to like you a lot, and I used to watch you as you did everything, because we'd been friends so long. And then you began spending all your time at baseball. And you never stopped to speak to anyone anymore. Not even to your family, you didn't. George, it's a fact. You've got awful conceited and stuck up. And all the girls say so. They may not say it to your face, but that's what they say about you behind your back. And it hurts me to hear them say it. But I've got to agree with them a little. I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but I can't be sorry I said it.
Emily, I'm glad you said it. I never thought that such a thing was happening to me. I guess it's hard for a fella not to have faults creep up into his character.
I always expect a man to be perfect. And I think he should be. Well, you might as well know right now that I'm not perfect. It's not as easy for a girl to be perfect as a man. Now, I'm so sorry I said that all to you. I don't know what made me say it.
Emily.
Now, I can see it's not the truth at all, and I suddenly feel that it isn't important anyway.
Emily, would you maybe like an ice cream soda or something before you go home?
That would be nice. Thank you.
Hello, George. Hello, Emily. What will you have? Why, Emily, what you been crying about?
She just got an awful scare, you know, Mr. Morgan. She almost got run over by that hardware store wagon.
Well, now you take a drink of water. Emily, you look all shook up. I tell you, you gotta look both ways before you cross Main Street. Gets worse every year. What will you have?
2 strawberry ice cream sodas, Mr. Morgan.
2 strawberry ice creams? All right. 2 strawberry ice creams, yes, sir. Oh, Mrs. Emily, what would you like to have?
They're so expensive.
Nah, don't you think about that. We have our election to celebrate, and do you know what else I'm celebrating?
No?
I am celebrating because I've got a friend who tells me all the things that ought to be told me.
George, please don't think of that. I don't know why I said it. It's not true. You're...
No, Emily, you stick to it. I'm glad you spoke to me the way that you did, but you're gonna see. I'm gonna change so quick. And, Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
Sure. What is it?
When I go away to state agriculture school next year, will you write me a letter every once in a while?
Yeah, I certainly will, George. It certainly seems like being away 3 years, you'd get out of things. Maybe letters from Grover's Corners wouldn't be so interesting after a while. Grover's Corners isn't a very important place when you think of old New Hampshire, but I think it's a very nice town.
The day wouldn't come where I wouldn't want to know everything that is happening here, and I know that for a fact.
Well, I'll try to make my letters interesting.
You know, Emily, whenever I meet a farmer, I ask him if he thinks it's important to go to school to be a good farmer.
Why, George?
And, you know, some of them even say it's a waste of time. You can get all of those things out of the pamphlets and papers the government hands out, and Uncle Luke's actually getting awfully old. He's about ready for me to start taking over tomorrow.
My.
Yeah, and like you say, being gone all that time in different places, meeting different people. Gosh, if anything like that could happen, I don't think I would want to go. I guess new people aren't any better than old ones. They almost never are. And Emily, I think you're as good as a friend as I've got. I don't need to go away to new places and meet new people.
But, George, maybe it's important for you to go and learn about, I don't know, cattle judging and soils and those things. Of course, I don't know.
Emily, I'm gonna make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa about it tonight.
Why, George? I don't see why you have to decide right now. It's a whole year away.
Emily, I'm glad you spoke to me about that. You know, that fault in my character. What you said was right, but there was certainly one thing wrong about it. That is when you said that for a year now I wasn't noticing people. You, for instance. You said that you were watching me do everything. And I was actually doing the same about you all the time. And of course, I've always considered you as one of my chief people that I care about, but I always made sure where you were sitting on the beaches and especially who you were sitting with. And for 3 days now I've been trying to walk home with you, but something's always gotten in the way.
George, life's awful funny. How could I have known that? Why, I thought...
Listen, Emily, I'm gonna tell you why I won't go to State College. I think that once you've found a person that you're very fond of, you know, I mean, a person who's also fond of you and who's interested enough to care about your character, I guess what I'm trying to say, that's just as important as college is, and even more so. That's what I think.
I think it's awfully important, too.
Emily,
Yes, George?
if I do improve and make a big change, would you be? I mean, could you be?
I am now. I always have been.
Well, I guess this is a very important conversation we've been having.
Yes. Yes.
Wait just a minute. I'll walk you home. Mr. Morgan, I have to get the money to pay you for this.
George, what's that you mean to tell me?
Yes, but I had reasons, you know. Here's my gold watch to keep you until I'm back with the
That's
money.
all right. Keep your watch. I'll trust you.
I'll be back in a minute.
I'll trust you, George, in 10 years. Not a day over. Got all over your shark, Emily?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Morgan. It was nothing.
I'm ready.
Well, now we're ready to get on with the wedding. There are a lot of things to be said about a wedding. There are a lot of thoughts that go on during a wedding. You know, we can't get them all into one wedding naturally, and especially not in a wedding at Grover's Corners, where they are awfully plain and short. In this wedding, I play the minister. That gives me the right to say a few more things about it. For a while now, the play gets pretty serious. You know, this is a good wedding, but people are so put together that even at a good wedding, there's a lot of confusion. Way down in people's minds. And we thought that ought to be in our play too. And don't forget all about the other witnesses at this wedding. The ancestors, millions of them. You know, most of them set out to live 2 by 2. Millions of them. Well, that's all my sermon. It wasn't very long anyway.
I don't know why on earth I should be crying. I suppose there's nothing to cry about. It came over me at the breakfast. There's Emily eating her breakfast for 17 years. And now she's going to the other house to eat her breakfast. Well, I suppose that's it. And Emily, she suddenly said, I can't eat another mouthful. And she put her head down on the table and she cried. Oh, I've got to say it, you know. There's something downright cruel to send our daughters to marriage. I hope some of her girlfriends told her a thing or two. It's cruel, I know, but I could not bring myself to say anything. I went into it blind as a bat myself. The whole world's wrong. That's what's the matter. There they come.
Hey, George.
Look at him, fellas. He's scared to death.
George, don't look so innocent. You okay there?
We know what you're thinking.
Don't disgrace the team, big boy.
All right. That will do. Goodbye. Please.
George, what's the matter?
Ma, I don't want to grow old. Why is everybody pushing me so?
Why, George? You wanted it.
Ma, listen to me.
No, George. No. You are a man now.
Listen to me, Ma.
George, if anyone should hear you, why, I'm ashamed of you.
Where's Emily?
Why, George, you give me such a turn.
Cheer up, Ma. I am getting married.
Let me catch my breath a minute.
Ma, you save Thursdays. You will see. Me and Emily, we will come over every Thursday night and... Ma, what are you crying for? We've got to get ready for this.
I never felt so alone in my whole life. And George, over there looking so... I hate him. I wish I were dead. Papa! Papa!
Emily, don't get upset.
But Papa, I don't want to get married.
Emily, everything all right.
Why can't I just stay for a while, just as I am? Let's go away.
No, Emily. No, stop and think a minute.
Don't you remember what you used to say? All the time you used to say that I was your girl. There must be lots of places we can go to. I'll work for you. I can keep house.
You must think a set of things. You're just nervous, Emily. George, will you come here a minute? Tell me, why you are married the best young girl in the world?
But Papa...
I'll go with my daughter. George, do you think you can take care of her?
I want to, Mr. Webb. I want to try. I'll do my best, Emily. I love you, and I do need you.
Well, if you love me, help me. All I want is someone to love me.
I will, Emily. Emily, I'll try.
And I mean forever. Do you hear? Forever and ever.
Come on, they're waiting for us. Now you know it was all right. Come, quick.
Do you, George, take this woman, Emily, to be your wedded wife, to have
Perfectly lovely wedding. Loveliest wedding I ever saw. Oh, I do love a nice wedding, don't you? Doesn't she make a beautiful bride?
I do.
Do you, Emily, take this man, George, to be your wedded husband?
Don't know when I have seen this nice wedding. Oh, but I always cry. I don't know what it is, but I always cry. Ah, I do love to see young people to be happy. Do you? Aren't they a lovely couple? Oh, I've never been to such a nice wedding. I'm sure they will be happy. I always said, happiness is the great thing. The important thing is to be happy.
And that's all the second act, folks. This time, 9 years have gone by, friends. Summer 1913. Gradual changes in Grover's Corners. Horses are getting rarer. Farmers coming into town in forts. Everybody locks their doors at night. Aren't be any burglars in town yet, but everybody's heard about them. You'll be surprised though, on the whole, things don't change much around here. This is certainly an important part of Grover's Corners. It's on a hilltop, a windy hilltop. Lots of sky, lots of clouds, often lots of sun and moon and stars. There, quite a ways down is Grover's Corners. Over there are some Civil War veterans. Iron flags on their graves, New Hampshire boys. Had a notion that the Union ought to be kept together, though they've never seen more than 50 miles of it themselves. All they knew was the name, friends. The name. The United States of America. The United States of America, and they went and died about it. This here's the new part of the cemetery. Here's your friend, Mrs. Gibbs. Here's Mr. Simpson, organist at the Congregational Church. And Mrs. Soames, who enjoyed the wedding. So you remember? Oh, and a lot of others. And Editor Webb's boy Wallace, whose appendix burst whilst on a Boy Scout trip. Yes, an awful lot of sorrow has quieted down here. People just wild with grief have brought their relatives up to this hill. We all know how it is. And then time, and sunny days, and rainy days, and snow, we all glad they're in a beautiful place. And we coming up here ourselves when our fate is over. Now, there are some things we all know, but we don't take them out and look at them very often. We all know that something is eternal. There's something way down deep that's eternal about every human being. You know, as well as I do, the dead don't stay interested in us living people for very long. Gradually, they lose hold of the earth. And the ambitions they had, and the pleasures they had, and the things they suffered, and the people they loved. They're waiting for something that is eternal. Something important and great. Aren't they waiting for the internal part of them to come out clear? Some of the things they're going to say maybe will hurt your feelings, but that's just the way it is. Mother and daughter, husband and wife, enemy and enemy, money and miser. All those terribly important things kind of grow pale around here. Well, there's some living people. There's Joe Stoddard, our undertaker, supervising a new made grave. And here comes a Grover's Corners boy that left town to go out west.
Good afternoon, Joe Stoddard.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Do I know you?
Oh yes, I'm St. Craig.
Oh, God's sake. Alive? Or people? I shouldn't know you'll be back for the funeral. You've been away for a long time, Sam.
Yes, I've been away over 12 years. But I was at the east when I got news of my cousin's death. So I thought I would combine things a little bit and come and see the old home. And you look well, by the way.
Yes, can't complain. Really sad our journey today, summer.
Yes.
Yes, I always say I had to supervise when a young person is taken. They will be here in a few minutes now.
Why? This is my Aunt Julia. I forgot of that. She would, of course.
Yes, Doc Gibb just lost his wife 2-3 years ago. About this time, and today, another pretty bad blow for him again.
That's my sister, Carrie's boy, Sam Craig.
I always uncomfortable when they around.
Simon.
He was an organist at the church, wasn't he? Drunk a lot. He used to say.
Nobody was supposed to know about it. He has seen a pack of trouble.
Oh, did he?
Took his own life, you know? Hanged himself in the attic. They tried to hush it up, but of course it got around. He showed his own appetite. You can see it there. It's and the words exactly.
Why, it's just some notes of music. What is it?
Oh, I wouldn't know. It's what wrote up in the Boston paper at the time.
Joe, what she died of?
Who?
My cousin.
Oh, did not you know? Has some trouble bringing the baby into the world. Towards her second dog. They are little boys about 4 years old.
The grave is going to be over there?
Yes, here. You will accuse me now. I saw death coming.
Who is it, Julia?
My daughter-in-law, Emily Webb.
Well, I declare, the road up here must have been awful muddy. What did she die of, Julia?
In childbirth.
Childbirth? Oh, I had forgotten all about that. Mine. Wasn't life awful and wonderful?
Wonderful? Was it?
Simon, now remember.
I remember Emily's wedding. Wasn't it a lovely wedding? And I remember her reading the class poem at graduation exercise. Emily was one of the brightest girls ever graduated from high school. I have heard Principal Wilkins say so time after time. I called on them at their new farm just before I died. Perfectly beautiful farm.
Yep, right smart farm.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see.
I always liked that hymn. I was hoping they will sing a hymn.
Hello.
Hello, Emily.
Hello, Mother Gibbs.
Emily?
Hello. It's raining.
Yes, it'll be gone soon, dear. Just rest yourself.
It seems thousands and thousands of years since Papa remembered that was my favorite hymn. Oh, I wish I haven't been here for a long time. I don't like being new here. How do you do, Mr. Stimson?
How do you do, Emily?
Mother Gibbs, George and I have made that farm into just the best place you ever saw. We thought of you all the time. We wanted to show you the new barn and great long cement drinking fountain for the stock. We bought that out of the money you left us.
I did?
Don't you remember, Mother Gibbs? The legacy you left us. Why? It was over $350.
Yes, yes, Emily.
It won't be the same to George without me, but it's a lovely farm. Live people don't understand, do they?
No, dear, not very much.
They're sort of shut up in little boxes. I feel as though I knew them last 1,000 years ago. My boy is spending the day at Mrs. Carter's. Mother Gibbs, we have a Ford too. Never gives us trouble. I don't drive though. Mother Gibbs, when does this feeling go away of being one of them? How long does it?
Shush, dear. Just wait and be patient.
I know. Look, they're finished. They're going. Look, Father Gibbs is bringing some of my flowers to you. He looks just like George, doesn't he? Oh, Mother Gibbs, I never realized before how troubled and how in the dark live persons are. Look at him. I loved him so, from morning till night. That's all they are. Troubled.
Little cooler than it was.
Yes, that rain's cooled it off a little. Those northeast winds always do that same thing, don't they?
But Mother Gibbs, one can go back. One can go back there again into living. I feel it. I know it. Why, just then for a second, I was thinking about the farm. And for a minute, I was there. And my baby was on my lap as plain as day.
Yes, of course you can.
I can go back there and live all those days over again. Why not?
All I can say, Emily, is don't.
But it's true, isn't it? I can go and live back there again.
Yes, some have tried, but they soon come back here.
Don't do it, Emily.
Emily, don't. It was not what you think it would be.
But I won't live over a sad day. I'll choose a happy one. I'll choose the day I first knew that I loved George. Why should that be painful?
You not only live it, but you watch yourself living it.
Yes?
And as you watch it, you see the thing that they down there never know. You see the future. You know what's going to happen afterwards.
But is that painful? Why?
That's not the only reason why you shouldn't do it, Emily. When you've been here longer, you'll see that the life here is to forget all of that and think only of what's ahead and be ready for what's ahead. When you've been here longer, you'll understand.
But Mother Gibbs, how can I ever forget that life? It's all I know. It's all I had.
Oh, Emily, it isn't wise. Really, it isn't.
But it's a thing I must know for myself. I'll choose a happy day anyway.
No. At least choose an unimportant day. Choose the least important day in your life. It will be important enough.
Then it can't be the day when I was married and when the baby was born. I can choose a birthday at least, can't I? I choose my 12th birthday.
All right, February 11th, 1899, a Tuesday. Do you want any special time of day?
Oh, I want the whole day.
We'll begin at dawn. You remember it had been snowing for several days, but it had stopped the night before, and it had begun clearing the roads. The sun is coming up.
There's Main Street. Why, that's Mr. Morgan's drugstore before he changed it, and there's the library's table.
Yes, it's 1899. This is 14 years ago.
Oh, that's the town I knew as a little girl. And look, there's that old white fence that used to be around our house. Oh, I'd forgotten that. Oh, I love it. Are they inside?
Yes. Your mother will be coming downstairs in a minute to make breakfast.
Will she?
And you remember your father had been away for several days. He came back on the early morning train.
No.
He'd been back to his college to make a speech in Western New York at Clinton.
Look, there's Howie Newsom. That's our policeman, but he's dead. He died.
Whoa, Bessie. Morning, Bill.
Morning, Howie.
You're up early.
Been rescuing a party. Darn near froze to death. Down by Polish Tunnel. Got drunk and lay out in a snowdrift. Thought he was in bed when I shook him.
Why, there's Joe Crowell.
Good morning, Mr. Larry. Morning, Howie.
Children, Wally, Emily, time to get up.
Mama, I'm here. Oh, how young Mama looks. I didn't know Mama was ever that young.
You can come and dress by the kitchen fire if you like, but hurry. Good morning, Mr. Newsom.
Oh, it's cold.
And below by my barn. Is it wet?
Think of it. Keep yourself warm.
Mama, I can't find my blue hair ribbon anywhere.
Just open your eyes, dear. I laid it out for you special on the dresser there. If it's a snake, it already bite you.
Yes, yes.
Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Miss Webb. You're up early.
Yes, just back to the old college union upstate. Shouldn't be any trouble here?
Well, I was called up this morning to rescue a poly fella. Darn near froze to death he was.
We must get in the paper.
In the wind barge.
Papa,
Good morning, Mother.
How did it go, Charles?
Oh, fine, I guess. I taught a few things. Anything around here?
Yes, can't think of anything that's happened special. Being right cold, having you some says it's 10 below the ground. Now that I notice, coffee's ready when you want it. Charles, don't forget, it's Emily's birthday today.
Yes, I got something here. Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
Well, don't interrupt her for now, Charles. You can see her at breakfast. She's slow enough. Hurry up, children. It's 7 o'clock. Now I don't want to call you again.
I can't bear it. They're so young and beautiful. Why did they ever have to get old? Mama, I'm here. I'm grown up. I love you all, everything. I can't look at everything hard enough. Morning, Mama.
Well, now, dear, a very happy birthday to my girl and many happy returns. There are some surprises waiting for you on the kitchen table.
Oh, Mama, you shouldn't have. I can't. I can't.
Well, but birthday or no birthday, I want you to eat your breakfast good and slow. I want you to grow up and be a good, strong girl. That in the blue paper is from your Aunt Carrie, and I reckon you can guess who brought the postcard album. I found it in the doorstep when I brought in the milk. Well, George Gibbs must have come over in the cold pretty early, right nice of him.
Oh, George, I'd forgotten that.
Well, chew that bacon good and slow, lady. It will help you keep warm.
Oh, Mama, just look at me 1 minute, as though you really saw me. Mama, 14 years have gone by. I'm dead. You're a grandmother. I married George Gibbs. Wally's dead too. His appendix burst on a camping trip to North Conway. We felt just terrible about it, don't you remember? But just for a moment now we're all together. Mama, just for a moment we're happy. Let's look at one another.
That in the yellow paper is something I found in the attic. Among your grandmother's things. Well, I guess you're old enough to have it, and I thought you'd like it.
And this is from you. Why, Mama? It's just lovely, and it's just what I wanted. It's beautiful.
Well, I hope you like it. Hunted all over. Your Aunt Nora couldn't find one in Concord, so I had to send all the way to Boston. Wally has something for you too. He made it at the manual training class, and gosh, he's very proud of it. Well, be sure you make a big fuss about it, okay? Your father has a surprise for you too. Well, don't know what it is myself. Well, here he comes.
Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
I can't. I can't go on. It goes so fast. We don't have time to look at one another. I didn't realize so all that was going on, and we never noticed. Take me back to my grave. But first, wait. Goodbye. Goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corners. Mama. Papa. Goodbye to clocks ticking. And Mama's sunflowers. And food and coffee. And no iron dresses and hot baths. And sleeping and waking. Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anybody to realize you. Do any human beings ever realize life while they live it? Every minute?
No. The say some points, maybe. They do some.
I'm ready to go back.
Were you happy?
No. I should have listened to you. That's all human beings are. Just blind people.
Look, it's clearing up. The stars are coming out.
Oh, Mr. Stimson, I should have listened to them.
Yes, now you know. Now you know, huh? That's what it was to be alive. To move about in a crowd of ignorance. To go up and down tramping on the feeling of those about you. To spend and waste time as though you have a million years. To be away at the mercy of one self-centered passion or another. Now, you know, that's the happy existence you wanted to go back to. Ignorance and brightness.
Simon Stimson, that ain't the whole truth and you know it. Emily, look at that star. I forget its name.
My boy Joe was a sailor, knew them all. He would sit on the porch evenings and tell them all by name. Yes, sir, wonderful.
A star's mighty good company.
Yes, yes, it is.
Here, one of them coming.
That's funny. It on no time for one of them to be here. Goodness sakes.
Mother Gibbs, it's George.
Shush, dear. Just rest yourself.
It's George.
And my boy Joe, who knew the stars, he used to say it took millions of years for that speck of light to get to the earth. Don't seem like a body could believe it, but that's what he used to say. Millions of years. Goodness, that's on no way to behave. He ought to be home.
Mother Gibbs,
Yes, Emily.
they don't understand, do they?
No, dear. They don't understand.
Most everybody is asleep in Grover's Corners. There are a few lights on. Yes, it's clearing up. There are the stars doing their old crisscross journey in the sky. Scholars haven't settled the matter yet, but they seem to think that there are no living beings out there. Just chalk or fire. Only this one is straining away all the time to make something of itself. The strain is so bad that every 16 hours, everybody lies down and gets a rest. 11 o'clock in Grover's Corners, you get a good rest too. Good night.
Miss Angie Foster.
Thank you.